stream on my phone, but like from a different platform. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go live, and they can just join the regular stream if they want. They're listening to us. They can kind of hear you. We go live on Instagram. Okay, we're good to go.
Sounds good. Let him pour up.
Fontainebleau. Fontainebleau.
Ashton Hall is shaking watching you do that.
I gotta get you get my nose into it or something.
Sprinkle it on you. You gotta give me a what?
I gotta get you. I should like actually add you to my live on Instagram so you can like have your account tag. I'll have to figure out how to do that. But guys, if you don't know, Anthony is he's co-hosting these Ascended podcasts. Obviously, got a role within what we do here. But let's officially kick this off, guys. Welcome into the episode. This is episode 9 of the Ascended podcast. As you know, I'm Caleb Schulke, and
I'm Anthony Parra. Yeah, I already said my name, but
introduce your role again for those who tune in every day.
growth operator. No, I just run the. I'm a community manager essentially, so also developing the affiliate program. So my role is in the back end for Ascend, but keeping you guys so you have things to do in the community and things to learn and answering questions, stuff like that.
Awesome. Welcome in, AJ. I see you over there. Welcome in, Scotty, Chattanooga, Wineman, all these people on different platforms.
Scotty Scheffler, the golfer.
I'm trying to keep track of so many different platforms at the same time. And Anthony alone is like, it's like I'm babysitting half the time. So to keep you accountable. But guys, there's been a lot happening in the community, by the way. Those of you who just listen to the podcast here and just tune in, you can obviously hear Anthony. It's a little bit messed up on TikTok for you guys over here, but we've made some pretty big changes. I don't even think I can list them all. Do you want to talk about the affiliate program and kind of where that's been taken the last week or so?
Yeah, for sure. That's probably some of the bigger changes. As the last week, we've now embedded a lot of different apps, integrated some other platforms to our free community as training tools, namely our AI trainer bot. So that we're training that bot daily to help you guys to answer questions you have about the community in general, about what Ascend does, how you can get started as an affiliate, how you can get started making money, and other means in our community. Let's see. We also have training courses coming out. Some of them are already out with the affiliate guide. If you've been active on the community, you know that's been out. But yeah, it's basically just adding a bunch of resources to help you guys get trained up, understand more about the affiliate program, how you can start making money. And it's serious money. And so at this point, it's just going to be how do we get the word out that this opportunity exists. So that's been most of our efforts.
And we're talking about serious money here. We're talking about $500. Right now, it's $1,000. If you guys take any social media account, you take your text messages, right? You text a friend who you think wants our help with our automated systems. The main one, guys, is our bot that kind of manages people's DMs. You know how much time people spend in their DMs? A lot of business owners I know spend half of their working time working their chats, and then the other half, maybe half, closing if they're lucky. So taking that, social media and cutting their social media management time in half and putting all of their time focused on making actual sales, that drastically scales a business, and it's very, very sellable product. So all you have to do is find people interested in it, and we will pay you if we're able to book the call. All you have to do is get them booked, and then you share the details with us, and we kind of take it from there. But it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
And then we have the content clipping stuff. We just relaunched we refunded the challenge today, so there's more money in there. I think it's we're running primarily Instagram and TikTok right now. So you guys that are like making CapCut stuff or playing around with edits, you guys can see my channel and the stuff I post on any social media account. And we're basically just looking for more stuff like that to boost our publicity and get more people. But
yeah, some of these guys are making some pretty high quality stuff to the point where I think you've been reposting some of them, honestly, that are of the higher end and quality to your own personal page.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are getting paid 10, 20. I think we had like a $35 video. So some dude in our community, I don't remember his name, otherwise I'd shout him out. I think it was Alex. Literally, however long it took him to make one video, made 35 bucks off of it, and that's
Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
that's crazy stuff.
No. So today in episode 9, we're changing the normal structure. We've done that last episode. We're not going to go through the different categories. We're just going to do more deep dives because I think from what I've seen, you guys have gotten more out of going a little bit, diving deeper, and getting more to the core of these issues rather than just hearing the same surface level news that's kind of been splashed everywhere. It's cool to know about little fun facts of stuff going around, but we're really here to change your perspective. We're here to show you what really how things work in this space of tech and AI and development of these systems, as well as how that affects our world and the way we live. That's kind of the main point of the syndicate. And so today we're going to talk about a pretty big issue, which is kind of this hidden AI control crisis and kind of what the people behind it might not always be telling you just straight up to your face on the news. This has been a huge research project that I wanted to bring out. I'll cite my sources as I go, but Anthony and I are going to just kind of talk through these things as rational humans. Hopefully, you guys stay with us and get some value out of this. But Anthony, are you done eating dinner? You ready to go? You got your
Yeah, man, let's get into it. No more ground beef for me. Let's get into the discussion.
Sweet. I'm ready too. So you think you're broke, right? Just because you're lazy. A lot of times that's not the truth. The system is rigged and AI is rewriting it right now. Surveys show that half of Americans expect AI to worsen inequality and not save the day. That comes from brookings.edu. In other words, you didn't lose your job because you snoozed your alarm. An algorithm just gave essentially your shift to a machine. That's happening a lot now. We're seeing huge organizations and corporations shrink down and automate a lot of the simple day-to-day work. No politician or bank is going to fix this for you easily, at least. The board is set and the AI checkers are taking your pieces. It's time to break the script and wake up and see what's really happening here. So what I want to start the discussion out is talking about the stats of this, because for me, honestly, this was pretty eye-opening. And Anthony, I just want to see if you can add in any relevant experience or things that you've seen. But first, you know who McKinsey is, right? They're the largest kind of consulting group in the U.S. I know a lot of people from my school at the academy that ended up going back to work for McKinsey. It's kind of like it's like working for Google, right? If you're a developer, it's working for McKinsey if you're in the consulting space. That's the golden egg. But I gave you that report. I gave you the report, right? By 2030, and I think I said this yesterday, by 2030, up to 30% of all work hours across the U.S. economy could be automated. That comes from the largest consulting firm with the most accurate knowledge probably out there. And it's not just burger flippers or assembly robots. It's office work too. Probably, honestly, the stuff you and Anthony, you and I do for day to day will probably by 2030 be automated. Our whole entire profession that we had before this is kind of up in the air, honestly. McKinsey points out that jobs like office support, customer service, and food service will shrink. And while even white collar tasks, you guys, white collar, entry level attorneys, things like that, you think you're safe, but you're not. They're also up for grabs. That comes from McKinsey as well. One law firm study found that 69% of a paralegal's billable work could be automated by AI. And guys, that's not even that funny. Like, I'm trying not to laugh, but it's just I don't know I don't know how else to react to that. It's kind of fucking scary. Like seven out of 7/10, right? So 70%, let's call it 70% of your work could be automated by AI if you're a paralegal. All right. So that comes from Clio.com, which is a law kind of like help attorney AI software place. In plain English, if your work follows a routine, AI will do it faster. Have you seen this? I want to open it up. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think I'm lying? Do you think this is just kind of an overreaction?
No, I don't think you're lying. I don't think it's an overreaction. So, I mean, I think we've had similar discussions in previous podcasts. But what do you think that people thought of when computers first came out, where it was like you had people filing, let's say, taxes by hand? Even in our career field, in the contracting profession, like every contract was written by hand, thousands of pages of documents you had to understand per contract, depending on complexity. Your regulations used to be the things you based the the regulations by which they guide your actions, like in your contracts, all paper as well. And then people probably thought like, oh no, like this internet thing, it's reserved for the people to have room for it. It's like this the massive computers, right? And then we fast forward to the place we're in now, where it's like anybody that would have been paid to file those things by hand now can be done with Excel or with a Google spreadsheet, instantaneously almost. Math, same way with calculators. So it's not, I don't think this is a unique problem that the world has seen, but I think it's powered by something stronger than what we've seen previously. And, like I kind of do it to myself, honestly. Like when I'm at work, a lot of things that seem like they would take me too long otherwise to not use AI, I'll do it. And then I kind of just start thinking, I'm like, man, like there's a ton of potential even just in what I do to like have
Yeah,
this
good point.
automated and it would make my job easier. But where do you draw the line where it's like it no longer needs me as part of the equation? So yeah, I kind of do
Yeah.
it myself in a lot of senses, but it's there and it's going to come faster than we think. So
So a Brookings study on this actually notes that like giving AI tools, if you give them to junior analysts or entry level positions, right, even just like simple jobs, kind of like what we got started in contracting and government contracting, led to much bigger productivity jumps than for their senior colleagues. So basically, what they're saying is it's actually an advantage to the entry level people because the senior people have been only focused on management. So actually, the more utilized career field is the entry level people that still have technical skills, and they're the ones working AI. And the amount of value that they tend to produce for the company is way greater than like a senior level manager. So in some ways, that's a good thing, guys, if you're new to the workforce and you're a little bit worried here. But it comes from Brookings.edu. But in one experiment, adding an AI assistant boosted customer service reps' output by 14% on average. But the novices saw the biggest gains, also from Brookings. In other words, the humans at the bottom were helped the most, but only until the machines learn the whole job and replace all of them, right? So it's like it's good only as much as it can't do everything. You want it to be good, but the second it can do everything, you're kind of fucked. So put simply, right, if your face or your words or your spreadsheets aren't absolutely irreplaceable, some program will learn to do it overnight. The system rewards leverage, not hustle. I want to talk about like the 48 laws of power, right? There's that one law, it's like become irreplaceable. And that law is like more true than ever nowadays because if there's a way that they can replace every part of your job, you're fucked. But if there's just something, if you can hang on to that one part, right? Or make the case that something that you do has to be done by a human, then a lot of times that's the best way to preserve yourself moving forward or pitch yourself when it becomes you versus an automation at the end of the day. It's crazy though, and again, it's kind of unrealistic though not to be thinking about this stuff because it will come up.
was that a question? I don't know.
That was a point. That's usually I was just pausing. Maybe I wanted to be dramatic, you know.
Just
I'll
pausing
talk.
for effect.
Let's talk about let's talk about language policing and how the algorithms work. This is a little bit different. This is another point I wrote down. I don't know if there's really even a good way to transition into this, but I kind of just wrote down like a series of topics I want to talk about today. And there's not really a particular transitional point, but the internet, free speech, right? The internet used to be kind of a wild frontier of free speech. Um, Now it's kind of a bland office space where everyone talks in code. You ever notice that people typing unalive, right, instead of the K word to yourself, or seggs instead of like the reproductive thing, right? I'm not trying to get banned on the platforms here. That's not edgy slang, it's just survival. Platforms content algorithms flag the literal words, so I can't say them. Most people can't say them here, but so people use like this algo speak thing, hacks to slip past the bots, because bots are listening to me right now on different platforms, and I don't want to, hi, hello, I don't want to upset you guys. So I'm trying to do as much as I can to wake you guys up, to make you guys aware of these things, while also not, like, I want to trigger an emotion in you. That's kind of my goal here, and help you guys fully understand the weight of these things. But the second I start, you can't go full rant mode, right? Otherwise, the algorithms will kind of kick you off. So AIs can be like this police force is another kind of thing that I noticed. And that, I guess, maybe is the transition point. For instance, a TikTok, reproductive process, whatever the S word, right? Education creator had her account banned for saying basic biology. She told journalists she now says things like segs instead of the real word, or censor body parts like vulva or the full, V thing, so that the bots don't flag educational videos. And it's kind of crazy now. I feel like censorship is like, isn't the whole point of social media to help enhance our ability to speak freely and to challenge ideas? I think honestly, I believe in the world where give everyone free speech, and then the people that are society kind of outcasts, they'll do that naturally. Like the more you try to place these like internal hidden limits that people can't see, it seems like you're controlling your speech a lot more, and it doesn't seem like society really has the end say in what is accepted and what isn't. I understand, right? There's still safety things, so there's a balance, but sometimes I think nowadays it gets a little bit too severe with how much it's limited. um, the algorithm is not really clever either. It's just kind of reacting to keywords. So if you spell too close to like the BOOB, right, stuff, or even if you use zeros, right, TikTok's going to catch that. It's going to ban you. And so um, I don't know. Enforcement's a mess with that too. The rules are kind of opaque, and then they're like inconsistently applied. Guys, the whole reason I'm on TikTok on my phone, you can't see it off screen, but it's here, and not on the mainstream, why you guys aren't connected to see Anthony's mustache right now and all that, is because if I put you guys on here, the same language that's fine on all the other platforms, TikTok likes to get rid of. They will kick me off, and I just don't understand that. So, um, do you think that's a case maybe for what we talked about already of like it could replace basic content moderators, right? $8 an hour jobs of someone sitting on their phone and like moderating stuff, but do you think the fact that it's not good enough yet is a reason to keep people around?
Yeah, I think that's probably the same case that's going to be made for any other job that AI will replace eventually. Is, it's just kind of in a state. I guess it depends on what you do, but that's just going to be the state that every job lies in. Is how long can we how long do we need to keep programming this AI tool to do the job more efficiently? And I guess until then, we'll just keep paying people to do it. So, um, yeah, it's interesting. I wonder like what platforms already. I assume most of them, if not all of them, probably already do. But like, what platforms already are integrating AI to do the censorship for them instead of kind of letting it go through. I know it used to go through like offices and people would have to say you could write up disputes and be like, oh, I don't think this is why I should get banned. I got banned from Facebook Marketplace one time. I couldn't figure out why. Probably something I said, but yeah, I think it's just going to be that's the standard. Like how long? It's just how long until we can have something that's developed well enough to do the job better than a human does and make less mistakes and be
I think
cheaper.
I think that's the one thing we all have in common right now is at least like, as much as politics makes it like an us versus them thing, left versus right, like different countries versus each other, different types of people against each other, which is all just kind of BS a lot of times. Like at least in this case, it's like we can all agree that we don't want like some digital algorithm taking our job, because that's not even another person, right? I think most of us would be like, I like my job, it's great, like I'd still rather have it than have some process kick me out of this. And I think most of us could come together and say, well, let's find a way to still show that humans have enough value to keep around. And it's kind of crazy that like 10 years ago I didn't think I would be having to make this point, but here we
Yeah, it's,
are, and it's just going to be crazier in the future. So the more you guys are involved in this educational space, like being inside the Digital Syndicate, it's not very expensive to be a member. It's in my bio. Go check out those spots and know exactly how it's like insurance, right? You guys don't want to pay for insurance, but you want the education of what insurance does so you know how to use it. And you also want the ability to deploy it as necessary. Same way with this knowledge. You know how to go make a business and leverage AI and leverage the tools, so that way hopefully you don't need to, right? Hopefully your stuff is secure, but if you're building this, you have a safety net. If all of a sudden somebody walks in beep boop bop boop with a robot and says they're going to take your spot, get up from your desk, use your cardboard box. So like we don't want that to happen, and we're trying to help you guys be ready. I'm not like a doomsday prepper. I don't think that's really a fair title, because I do think you can see that corporations, the biggest ones out there, are laying people off. Amazon, I think, just said they made a bunch of people relocate to Washington, like the state of Washington, and a couple other hubs. They said you have to relocate by like September. I don't remember what it was. It was later in the year, or they were gonna basically be removed from your position. So like your alternative is move across the country to this hub where we're probably just gonna replace your job anyway, or be fired now. And it's like, well, that's not really fair. So what if the same thing happens to you guys? Like, again, this is happening at the biggest companies in the world. So the trickle down effect is real, and it's really just a matter of time before your company innovates too. So we want to make you guys aware. I'm not trying to I'm not fear mongering. I'm just helpful mongering.
Yeah.
Anthony's mass mongering over there with his lats, but
I'm just mog mongering.
he's
No,
he's mogging the chat, guys.
I'm moggering. Yeah, something you said earlier was you kind of related it to the concept of insurance. It's like, yeah, if Caleb's he's not fear mongering, he's not telling you that you should expect to lose your job, but it's a real possibility depending on what you do. And we're just offering a solution that a lot of people are taking advantage of and are seeing results from. And I think we're still junior in the stages of, where this eventually takes off to. So get in while you can is all I'm going to say.
One of the interesting areas that stood out to me when I was researching this was the stock market and how. Do you know what a black swan is? Like a
Yes.
black swan event? Yeah, it's like so. But for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like it's like the coming of Christ, right? You could argue. If you are a Christian, if you believe that, or maybe let's just use it. Let's use something that most people, can agree, on. Let's just say like electricity, the invention of electricity, right? When we found, I guess it wasn't invented, it was discovered. When we discovered electricity and created means to collect it, we changed the course of human history and our trajectory completely. Otherwise, we'd still be scrubbing our shirts on a washboard. Some of us still do. It's probably actually safer than what's in Tide Pods anyway. But we changed the ability for humankind to exist. It wasn't expected. ChatGPT is the same thing. And right now, I think because ChatGPT, we've already all accepted it's a black swan. It's changed humankind forever. It came out of nowhere. Now, I think the biggest subsection of that is the financial markets, and that's kind of what's driving a lot of these changes. The markets are not really right now driven by human traders. If you guys picture yourself competing against guys in suits and ties, pocket squares, all that, walking in with their coffee, that's not how it works right now. I'll tell you that's not accurate. They're just driven by code right now. It's programs. You guys are trading against programs. And when code panics, chaos unfolds in a heartbeat. Remember the 2010 flash crash right after the market looked like it was recovering? The Dow plunged 9% in minutes, wiping out $1 trillion in market value before rebounding. That comes from ndtv.com. This was essentially machines that we already had in place then, like early stage AI machines, selling other machines, and triggering other machines to sell in a panic. It was kind of like a cascade, right, of a bunch of sells. These machines sold, triggered other machines that had different limits, right? And so that's the problem with like stop losses. If you're a trader and things like that, is they can get triggered by false moves of the market, and you can be put out of your position, or crazy volatility. Or 2016 was another example when the British pound mysteriously plunged 6% in a morning. Like the value of your currency all of a sudden inflates 6% in one morning. Analysts later blamed computer-led sell programs. That comes from money.cnn. So those were warnings, and I'll tell you guys that those were actual warnings. If you were paying attention. Now it's happening every year. In February of 2024, Lyft, like Uber, but kind of their like little, weird cousin. I think Uber's way better. It's probably because we get the Amex credit. Like I use Uber a lot more. But Lyft accidentally printed 500 basis points instead of 50 basis points, just a typo, on their earnings report. So they said that their earnings report were 10 times what they were supposed to say, just on accident. Because a computer algorithm was making it. Trading algorithms saw 500 instead of 50, and they went berserk. So Lyft stocks just skyrocketed over 60% in 35 minutes. I don't know if you remember hearing about that in 2024 when Lyft just took off. But only after a human caught the typo did it crash back down. Nobody was in charge of that. It was just a swarm of bots chasing the wrong signals, because bots were, trained to scan the market, look for these stocks that are rising rapidly and go buy it. And then when it crashed because they realized a mistake, look how many, big companies got burned in that process. Arguably, screw them anyway. But, if that's if you eventually get hooked onto these trading algorithms, right, that's going to be your money. And it only gets worse because the IMF just flagged that AI-driven trading will make markets faster and more volatile, meaning that it's going to move a lot faster. It's less predictable. Getting into trading right now is a very dangerous game. It is the lottery right now. They point out that while AI can make markets more efficient, it also amplifies flash crashes. That comes from IMF.org. In other words, your 401k or pension fund is one of these guys, one of these little like puppet guys held by strings, and the algorithms are the one kind of yanking them behind the scenes. So you're looking like, right, it's like, oh, that's a solid bearish flag pattern, right? But it's really just the algorithm saying, well, human psychology is triggered by bearish flags. Let's flood the market with capital because the wealthiest 1%, as I said yesterday, control over 50% of the market. So like one person in a room of 100 has the ability to influence half of the room's decisions. And so that's basically what's going on in the market. So one person with a lot of money in AI tech could say, well, let's make the market do this so it looks like it's following this pattern and then fake it out. And that's usually what's happening. So the standard traders that don't know what they're doing are kind of getting fooled out by this like fool's promise. So um, do you think first of all, do you think trading is a business that people should be getting into with this? Like if they're brand new to AI and stuff, do you think that's a safe like bet? I don't even know.
I don't think I would. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but I would assume that if your goal is to get into the AI realm, you probably have more stable options to enter into as a beginner that would give you a guaranteed income or something a little more predictable at least. But I wouldn't recommend that personally.
I'm gonna plug you guys with an app that actually my father just downloaded, and he's already made. He put like 20 grand of his retirement into this, and he already made he made in a week. He made like 3%, and he didn't do any work on his. Which again, if you're a trader, you know that's a lot. Just like without doing any day trading or work. It's called Dub, DUB, and I downloaded it. I've used it, but basically, if you download it, it shows the best traders out there. Which in this case, it's like Warren Buffett, but it's also like Nancy Pelosi and people like that. Nancy Pelosi in the last year and a half, her portfolio's up 151%. So she's over doubled, almost tripled her portfolio in the last year and a half, having inside information. So you can just set your portfolio, you can put money in and say, well, copy people with insider information on these longer trades. And instead of day trading, that's usually a better bet. You'll get way more returns in the market. This isn't, I can't give you financial advice here. This isn't official financial advice, but this is what I would look into if I was trying to get better returns on the market. And that's what I've instructed my father to do. And he's kind of agreed that that's a better route to take. So copy trading is always a great way. Just follow the people that have the technology. Don't try to do it yourself. If you are day trading, then, bless you. And I wish you the best, but yeah, there's better ways. Start a business, guys. Put the money in, even though it looks riskier. Use the write-off. Start an LLC. Write off those deductions. Save money from your normal job. Saving money and investing that in something that can compound is usually a better way than just gambling, right? Essentially on the market every day if you don't know what you're doing. And too many of us think we know what we're doing on the market. So yeah, you need to have control over something that you built from scratch. Anthony, I know you're building a fitness coaching brand, scaling that. We have the Digital Syndicate. Again, the links in the bio. Like these are all things that we built, and we control how much money we make. We control like how much we charge. We control how much we put into ads. Have control over your investments, and the business is always the best way to do that.
Yeah. Something like it's got to be something along those lines. Like you're going to lose out if I always think of my dad when it's kind of interesting. We both brought up our dads, but I think of my dad because he's kind of the type that never was introduced to the idea of investing. Doesn't feel comfortable putting his money anywhere he can't see it, and he's going to lose out. And I've told him a bunch of times, but it's kind of looking like he's in a position to, he's just turned 50. It's like, what are you going to do in 20 years when you don't want to work anymore and your money just sat and you're safe the whole time? So starting a business is probably your best bet, just because, like Caleb said, you have control over it. It's just like anything else in life. Like the effort you put in is what you're going to get out as a reward. And if you're actually about it, then you're guaranteed to see a reward because you'll see success eventually if you just don't stop.
I will say this too. Obviously, we all know about inflation. We all know that inflation was, between 3 and 4% a few years ago, and it was really bad when they were printing a lot of money. I said yesterday that 80% of our dollars came in the last 5 years. Like this tomorrow, I guess tomorrow, next year is 250 years of our country existing, and 245 years only produced 20% of those dollars. They all came in the last 5 years. So inflation's real. But the thing is, guys, I've done the research and I can pretty confidently say that they have lied to you about the effects of inflation. Inflation, they said it was like 3 to 4%. In reality, if you look at the cost of living and stats around it, it's about 11 to 12%. So if you're putting money in a safe and you're putting money in a high yield account, even that's paying 4%, you're still losing about the standard. You're literally the stock market's average return in a year. You're going the exact opposite way just because of inflation if you're sitting on cash. And so you're literally just leeching off the work you did for a company, the money you actually got paid from a salary or job, which is really just trading time of your life, right? We talked about currency representing your energy from work and production. So you've literally 8% of the effort of your life that you've spent working for this was just lost in the wind because you weren't putting it in the right vehicle. You were putting it in a bank account. And some people are going to figure that out like the hard way. And it's just, it's always your choice, right? But always choose to try to educate yourself first so you understand the implications of choosing different routes. And hopefully he's okay with that. Hopefully like he buys something with it. Maybe like his bank gives him a decent rate at least, so it's not completely nothing. If it's just a savings account, be a little bit worrying, but I don't know. Do you know, like, is it at least a high yield account? Does he, yeah, like,
I have no idea. I think he's just planning to depend on the state's retirement because he currently works for the state. But I don't know.
How are those state programs working recently? To me, it's like, I don't know. Honestly, I would rather take the risk of the stock market than put my risk in like having one of those programs like exist the entire time I'm retired. I don't know. Maybe that again, he's still in that generation where like they can probably count on that, but you're still taking a risk, right? Because in this case, you literally a policy change could completely reverse everything that you thought you were going to get. In this case, even if the market dips 10%, you still have 90% of your money. So like you still have control over your investments if you're putting in the market. And in that case, if you're just relying on the state, then you're kind of taking on as much risk as possible. It's just seeing it like more clearly. But yeah.
Yeah, I think generational differences go into that a lot. It's like just like you said. I mean, that's just the way he was raised. Also, where he's from, immigrant family. It's just kind of values were different back when he was worried about his future. You know what I mean? Back then, it was go learn something valuable, which it kind of doesn't really change, which is interesting. It's just what you do with the reward is different now. It was back then. It was just ingrained in him. Learn something valuable and just do that. But I guess the difference comes from like you could either continue to do that for somebody and make them richer, or you could translate it, put a little bit more work into it, take a little bit more of a risk while you're younger, and do something for yourself as well.
Yeah. And I'm talking about copy trading already, but the best thing I would recommend for anybody that's like, you understand I think most of us could agree there's a system, right? Whether or not you go to the extent I go, you can agree there's a system and that people with money, people that have power, people that have assets, right? And the ability to influence things, they can impact policy. They can use tax loopholes. They can use different strategies to maximize the money they make. The first thing you should do, guys, is look to see what these people are doing. Because it's like, again, it's the poison apple example. It's like, well, if you knew about this and you didn't take action on it, like it's kind of your fault for not doing that. But a lot of times, like the information's out there and it's not necessarily given to you. You have to kind of go find it. But it is technically still an apple that they're telling you is poisoned if you're not, paying attention to it, and then you're still eating it if you're not really doing anything. So you just have to put in the work, right? And then there are ways to figure these things out. Like for example, a dynasty trust, right? You put your house in a dynasty trust, zero tax by the IRS, no inheritance tax, no estate tax, nothing. And I said before, the Mars family landed massive inheritances because of a dynasty trust, and they didn't have to pay any income tax. That's the family behind Hershey's and Kiss and all the Milky Way, all that stuff. But they said too, if you put $1 million in a dynasty trust, which isn't taxed, and you leave it for multiple generations, then theoretically, right? Let's say you were in the early colonial families of the U.S. Up to now, it would be worth like $37 trillion, which is like our national debt, but also like half of the world's GDP. So like literally one family can own half the world's GDP if over a few hundred years your family let that compound. Because I mean, who's spending billions or trillions of dollars in a year? So most of it's going to keep compounding, but like you find these loopholes to keep doing that, and it's just going to draw more and more wealth, and it compounds insanely fast. But it just comes like you're probably obviously not going to be there right anytime soon, but you need to understand fundamentally that there are ways to get by this. There's ways to leverage AI, just like the people that are at the top have. The other fun fact, I guess, which isn't really that fun, is from 2014, which I said, until 2025, which is where we're at. So I guess 10-ish years, the 1% have made enough money, just the 1% have made enough money to buy the US military like 6 times over. Every single plane, every single aircraft carrier, every single person within the military. Like it could buy its imagine a group of people with enough money to literally fund a military 6 times as big as the US. Like that's a little bit, and that's just how much they made additionally to what they had. So that's like telling you that there's systems that are definitely flawed. I'm not gonna even deny that. Most of us won't deny that, but it's about finding a way to use it in the position you're in. Because even if you're barely getting started, there's still Wyoming LLCs that you can learn how to use, Delaware LLCs, things like that can write off taxes, and that's where we're going to show you guys how to use that stuff. But I don't know. Even if you're just writing off like the camera that I'm filming on right now, like it's $800 that I didn't have to pay taxes on, that can go back into scaling my business. And it's just really simple stuff. I don't want to go all like tax attorney here, but it doesn't even have to be that. It's just learning the ways that the people that are obviously doing so good know things you don't. And so if you learn what they're doing, not just, because you're pissed off, maybe that's a good way to get inspired to do it, but understanding how they're doing what they're doing, you can say, well, at my level, there's still a version of that I can do. I can't go buy an island in the Pacific to go live on, but I can maybe look at this residency, or maybe look at setting up an LLC here that I can afford for $100 that can save me a bunch of money. And like, there's ways to do this at your level. Even if you think like, I'm never going to be an entrepreneur, this is the perfect time to consider that stuff. I'm yapping. I'm a certified yapper right now, but I really do. I don't know. It's like having the cure for cancer, guys. I don't have the cure for cancer, if the feds are listening, by the way. But we have this great solution, and you guys can hear me saying the words, but there's like a disconnect, right? Because and it kind of drives me crazy, because it's like I know the value we have, but I can't I can't transfer that to you without you guys thinking like I'm just leading you on, that I'm just like pulling your string, right? So kind of it's hard, right? Because I don't want to look like a crazy like salesman, but the value is literally in our community. That's all I'll say. I'm gonna let Anthony say something so I don't lose my mind here. But
yeah, so man, it's not even that. I think people are so conditioned that it's like everywhere you look, and because social media is the marketing scheme that it is, like everything you see, something for sale, somebody selling something, somebody offering you something. Every video you see is just telling you the same thing over and over. And we've talked about this many times about what that does to the psyche of a young man in today's society. It's hard from our end, and I'm just going to kind of expound on what Caleb said, just to break the silence here. But Caleb, and what he's saying is like, it's hard to convey that you're well, what's going on here?
I was just making you big.
Oh, you made me big.
I was spotlighting you.
They're gonna see my goofy setup back here. They're gonna see my outlet, my roaches, my everything. But it's different. And you don't even have to do much to like see that it's different. Like, we offer a free community for that purpose, where it's like you don't even have to pay anything to like literally hop in. Ascend Affiliates X Clipping, or Clipping X Affiliates is what it's titled now. Like, we're literally paying you to like make videos, to bolster our efforts and our own brand, paying you to do outreach on behalf of Ascend. There's opportunities everywhere, and honestly, like it's just kind of like sharing a piece of the wealth, really. So I think that's kind of the way forward. Like if you have any sort of sense of like what it means to be human, and you would prefer not to just take advantage of those that know less than you, it's kind of going to be a community effort to like make sure that moving forward, like we're not all in the same boat where we got replaced by AI and there's nothing for us to do anymore. So we're just gonna sit and collect EBT snaps and buy hot Cheetos because all we can afford. It's going to be a community effort where it's like, how can we bounce ideas off of people? How can I find a community, or we keep saying community because we have a community, but how can I find a scene of like-minded people that are interested in this, whereas some of my friends still haven't caught on to like, this is the next thing. This is going to be the next calculator, the next computer. It already is. Like, I don't think people quite understand yet, like the sheer percentage of like what they are being fed, or like things they buy, that like everything now is impacted by this construct called AI. And unfortunately, like I think that that's very disproportionate to the amount of people that know anything about AI. Besides that, it's like AI. Like I get briefings from my higher ups in the place I work right now all the time, where it's like AI is brought up as like oh, AI, oh okay, and that's all they have to say about it. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm offering you a way to do this.
Big tech guy here using AI. Oh, look
Literally.
at him. He thinks he's fancy.
Literally, I'm like, no, dude, I'm just offering you a way to save like 4 hours of your day in this task that we do weekly, bi-weekly sometimes in some cases. And you just can't get through to them. But it's like, I sincerely hope that, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of why we do these live streams. Honestly, guys, like you can't even see my face because of the quality of my camera right now, but because I believe in what it is we're building, I still show up anyway, and I endure the embarrassment of all of Caleb's viewers being like, I don't even know why this guy shows up, can't even see his face. You know what I mean? But it's because I believe in this thing. Like I believe that there's a ton of value to be shared by the people that are going to join. You don't even have to pay for any of our services, man. Just like join, involve yourself, become a part of something that is going to make you money, like in the short term. And it's nothing huge. You're not going to buy a Lambo. You're not going to move to Dubai off of content clipping for Ascend, but it's something, and it gets you familiar with what's to come. And like, honestly, I think that the more and more centralized our governments, the world governments, politics, where our food is sourced from, where our social media platforms, like what they allow and regulate, how they work together and function, our job force is becoming more and more centralized. And Caleb and I talk about this on our own time, all the time. But the only way around that is to have something decentralized from that you own in its entirety and that you control, that's going to bring you in a source of sustainment. And if that doesn't exist, like there's no telling like what that's going to look like for you, your kids one day, whether or not you can see yourself having children. That's generally the route most people go. Like, what are you going to have to show for them one day that it's like, oh, I'm going to put on my global, my global dominance world order uniform because I work for them. I work for the state, and that's the only job that's available. Or are you going to have, you know what I mean, your own kind of thing to show for it, and you help people that way? I don't know. These are all just hypothetical.
Yeah, damn. I mean, like, well, first of all, guys, let's all drop a like or something just for Anthony being here during his conjugal time with us.
You're starting to think
it. Like he's in the dark cell right now. He's in the dark night.
Somebody's gonna clip this and they're gonna say I'm retarded online.
Who's this like
Bozo thinks he knows something about AI.
Who's this buzzcut? But it's somebody. You watch the movies, guys. You're sold the narrative, right? The good versus bad. But in reality, to be honest, what I can say, even though I can't name names here and I can't do things like I can off camera, and I will in the community. I'll share these things in the community, but like what I can't say publicly is like who's doing what. But I don't feel like the good guys are in control of everything right now. I don't feel like the good guys are winning. And so if the good guys are making a lot of the decisions and have influence, if the bad guys, right, if they have influence on decisions, let's just say there's even a few, and they have a role in this, we need more good people like sharing good messages. And I'm not about to, name a name here. I'm not calling him out. I don't think I'm not, putting myself in a position, but um, you know who like Peter Thiel is, right? Like BlackRock.
Yeah.
He's not, again, just a guy, guys. I'm not making an official statement on him, but let's just listen to he obviously has a huge interest in energy production, politics, AI, and this is what he had to say. I think I sent this to you, Anthony. I'm just going to share this clip for those of you that weren't, weren't up to speed on this stuff. But let me play this.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're
Yeah,
hesitating.
well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in
Should the
this.
human race survive?
Yeah, that's so that's the current state that we're looking at from people driving policy. Obviously he's not a politician, but he does have several connections with his company. Obviously, I'm not saying he's the bad guy. I'm not calling him like a villain. But I'm just saying, like, some people that have influence over these things, like the answer in that case is yes. It should be yes. Yes, the human race, I want them to survive and do well. Like that's a very easy question to answer. And the fact that there's even a hesitation there for something that's this vital and going to be this decisive over the course of existence, let alone that it's literally an existential crisis if we don't have this fully dialed in, and we need every single person locked the hell in. And to be honest, with multiple countries competing on this, that's already hard enough to do. It's scary. And so if there's right and wrong ways to leverage AI, and we know the threats of it if not used correctly, then you need to learn it from the right source. You need to learn how to weaponize it in a productive way. Weaponization isn't bad, right? Good and bad guys carry weapons. And in this case, we're carrying a big stick that we can use to print money for us, to have influence, to put our face out there and provide value to the world. But also like to help us leverage ways to survive if things go south too. Like, how do we survive in a changing job market in a world that's uncertain? We've already defined this. I've already developed 4 phases to make any business kind of structure. If I wrote a book right now, it'd be like on these 4 phases, but it's very clear of what that is in our syndicate. We'll talk through these really quick as one of the kind of final talking points, but obviously all of this stuff is in the syndicate, guys. You know exactly where to go to find it. It's in my bio. And let's just kind of walk through the journey, right? Tell me if any of this, if you tried to start a business, if you said, I'm going to be a e-commerce guy, right? If any of this stuff is something that relates to the process, if you could agree with this. The first thing is clarity. And this starts from listening to podcasts like this. It's this educational phase where you figure out, who are you? What am I really about? Do I want to do good for the world? Hopefully you don't want to do evil for the world, but some people do. And we want to be clear about what we stand for. So getting crystal clear on our values, our vision, and the image we want to project online, the language we use, right? The way we communicate, all of these things. This purpose cuts through the noise, and this is phase 1. No wonder Gen Z gets it, because 2/3, 67% of Gen Z says a strong personal brand is very or somewhat important. That comes from prdaily.com. Your digital identity is essentially a beacon. I almost said bacon. People and even opportunities start gravitating to a clear name. So can you build a brand? Can you have an impact if you don't even know who you are? Let's start with that, because this has to be phase 1. What do you think happens when you're unclear about who you are and then you try to just make money?
Yeah, I think that's the way a lot of people, that's the way I originally took it. That's what everybody does. It's a sellout. It's like what's the quickest way I can make some money? And then you run into a problem and it's like, I haven't really defined how I'm going to go about solving this. Let me go on to the next thing, or continue. And then it's just a poor end product. And the short answer is, it goes nowhere. It's not gonna be worth your time. I mean, that's been my experience.
I don't even think this is like, because there's two ends of the spectrum, right? There's one where you're completely dialed in and you're trying to find your mission, right? Which in this case, ours is to empower mainly men, but men and women to drive themselves to a greater purpose, figure out the way they can kind of leave a legacy behind. Because in your 20s, especially when the economy's hard, when life is hard, you don't even know if you're working towards something nowadays. And I want to kind of reignite that flame in a lot of people. But that was kind of my purpose of what I wanted to do to the world. And but the other side is like it also sets your ethics, and you need a bare minimum. You should at least have ethics. If you don't have a vision or a mission, you need ethics. Because too many people, OnlyFans, right? Like too many people are like, you know what? Well, I'll just not have it. I won't even figure out who I am. And they're doing it backwards, right? They started with monetization, they started with scaling, and then they work backwards to like, okay, let's make like a face out of this and figure out who I am. And then so many OnlyFans people, right? The change happens in reverse order. And when it happens in reverse order, it's not fun because when you work through from phase 4 to phase 1 instead of 1 to 4, you start to realize that you didn't actually want to do a lot of things you were doing. But by that point, you've already made money. You've already put yourself out there. It might have been successful on paper, but you're locked in now. Like you can't, like whatever identity you built for yourself, you're kind of stuck with that now. And if it wasn't something ethical or something you wanted to do, that's what you're known for. And I see too many people make names for themselves in industries that they regret later, right? And like, again, let's just use like OnlyFans or prawn or corn stars, right? That kind of go out there that have to come back later and say, you know what, I didn't really want to do this, but I made a lot of money. Okay, well that's great, but you've already locked in your branding, and it wasn't by your choice. It was because even if you think you're skipping that phase of figuring out who you are, the world puts a label on you, and usually the label that the world puts on you, if you skip that phase and don't go through it properly, is not the one you want because they just label you. Because if you're not clearly communicating what I stand for, then the world has to fill in that gap, and it'll be, well, he rented the Lambo. Well, he scams people. Well, he does this, because they don't know actually how you got to that point. So identity always has to come first, guys. It is a lot of work because it's the hardest part is self-development, and that's why it's such a big point of the syndicate. But when done properly, this creates a very strong initial flame, and then it kind of just grows from there.
Yeah, I think you said it well. I don't think I could add anything better than that.
Well, hopefully, I did design the programs.
It's worth their money. Pay us $10,000 and we'll teach you how to sell a $10,000 course.
That's honestly kind of what we're doing. It's like I'm charging you guys to learn how to sell a program, but I'm not like at the top of the hill. I'm not in the mansion, guys. I'm like 3 steps ahead of you. I'm like, pay me money, and people do like to see how to grow a brand, but I'm also growing a brand, showing you how to do it in the process. Like I'm using the 4 phases right now. I would say it's identity and branding, which is the second part. Second step is branding. I'm using my identity to show you guys who I am and what we talk about, and then branding to make you guys want to get in the syndicate. Like this is the exact process. Nobody escapes this. Like even McDonald's, right? Still an identity, right? They want to feed you. They want to, be wholesome. And they're branding, right? They're red and yellow packaging, the Ronald McDonald, right? You can't get around this. And that kind of, again, ties into the second point. So public presence is phase 2. What we teach is how do we create a persona that people trust and follow? Those are the 2 things we're looking for. So we want to start sharing our ideas relentlessly. Just memes, short videos, fiery tweets. You guys are seeing this in the content clipping challenge that we have going on right now. We're paying people to push our stuff out, whatever fits us. But become the person in your niche that people kind of expect to see content from. It's like printing your own currency, right? Because once you're a brand, then your word, right, what you say creates value. A lot of people listen to Andrew Tate now just because he's Andrew Tate, not because they're trying to assess what he's saying. They're like, oh, that's the bald guy, the kickboxer. I'm going to listen to him. Kind of happens, right, once you get to a big enough point. But even your screen name, right, becomes a brand logo. Consistency, though, has to be key in this phase. And so a lot of this is really focused on posting consistently, colors matching on websites and social media and all that stuff. The algorithm loves known entities. So we have to feed it with our face and our message constantly and every time we post. You got Pump Para going on. That's the brand you got right now. But
yeah.
How did you transform yourself from Anthony Para into Pump Para? Like, how do you put on the cape and go in the phone booth to do that?
Honestly, this is going to sound super cheesy, but part of me kind of feels like Pump Para is the normal, but I don't feel like everybody shares my interests. And so I just act like a normal person, you know what I mean, in public. But Pump Para is like, the name is just kind of funny. Which kind of just reflects that like I just want to be relatable to people. Because I used to be, I mean, I was a fat kid growing up. I wasn't super fat, but I was not. I remember there were times in my life where I had realized I didn't look, you know, like I thought a kid should look for the age I was. And then growing up, ended up I was kind of skinny for a while because I, you know, kind of overcorrected for that. But so it's just been my own personal journey where it's like I've been on both sides. I've done both. I've you know, to get to a point where I felt like I could feel confident in the way that I looked and how I performed. And so it's more just like I am that dude. You know, I am the dude that I'm trying to help at the same time. Like it's not like I'm just some guy that's like super jacked and huge and you could never achieve what I have going on. Like obviously not. I've never taken an anabolic steroid. Thought about it many times, but admittedly, never taken one. I don't have a crazy physique, but what I do have is like enough knowledge over 7 or 8 years of experience to like help somebody that struggled in a way I could relate to back in the day. And so that's really all it's about, man. Is I enjoy the culture. I enjoy the memes. I enjoy, you know, I enjoy taking caffeine. I enjoy feeling like I'm, you know, like I'm invincible in the gym. I enjoy getting a nasty pump. And it's just something I want to share with people. That's all it really is.
It has to feel very cheesy to you, and it might, because what that is, and it's literally psychological. It's like me, like taking my camera. The whole reason you guys have clippable content is because I'm carrying my camera around. I'm carrying it into Chipotle, into Walmart. Like these people that have very minimal lives, I'll just say, where their only focus is just work, home, TV, bed, repeat. They'll look at me like, what is this guy doing? Does he think he's a big shot? Like whatever. But like, yes, I am. I am a big shot. This is my alter ego. And I have to do that. I have to create this psychological safety to allow myself to open up and still create content. Even when I feel like embarrassed or that other people are watching me and stuff, just because this version of me exists in a different reality where I already am successful. And if I want the reality where people are like, oh my God, that's the YouTuber guy making content, that's sick, then I have to go through the moments where people don't think that's sick. Or in my mind, like they might not actually care. Maybe they do think it's cool. I don't know what they're thinking. But to me, I have to find a way to swing it and to play it where I can keep myself motivated. And thinking about like even just being delusional and thinking like everyone likes what I'm doing. They're just too embarrassed to come talk to me. They don't want to be like, it's on them, right? Like they don't think they're cool enough to come talk to me. I almost just kind of like say, you know what? I'm too cool for them. They like if they can't talk to me, it's probably because like they don't want to interrupt what I'm doing, whatever it is. And so like in reality, they're probably like, that guy's just really weird. And I find a way to swing it where I can still do what I need to do. And someday I'll just, again, you build up enough credibility that's contagious when people see that you are that fuel behind the fire, and it will catch on eventually. It's a very lonely chapter getting there and creating content and like not doing the same thing everyone else is doing. And people are like, oh, this guy thinks he's fancy because he posts. But one day you'll look up and be like, I did everything I said I was going to do. All right, now we have content clippers literally clipping my videos and posting them online. I thought that was like the most insane idea. Why would anybody want to make clips of my stuff? And they're doing it every day. And it's fake it until you make it, maybe. I don't know what it is, but like you got to just believe in it enough, because how is anybody else going to believe in you if you're not doing it for yourself? So Pump Para is like an inspiration. And even if like he inspires 2 people that day, like you're doing it because you know that it's going to inspire a lot more. The world's catching up usually a lot of times.
Yeah. There's been quite a few instances where like dudes I haven't talked to in months or even, you know, a year, like really the guys that maybe I knew back in high school that'll follow the page, and like it's small. Like I have like 84 followers. But they'll like send me a message the next time I talk to them, or like when I went home last, they'll be like, yo man, like on some real like I like started getting back into it because I saw your videos and I remembered that you're into that, and I look up to you for that. And I'm not trying to glaze myself, but like honestly, it's kind of you know, it's kind of a strange feeling where it's like, oh, you know, this actually does have some sort of effect. And you know, probably sort of a biased effect, you could say, because it was a dude I know. It's people I know for the most part right now that I'm affecting that way, but nonetheless, that means it has potential.
Wait, so you're telling me that having people that are on the content creation journey, on the entrepreneurship journey in your space, even if we don't interact every day, like just knowing that I'm out there, that allows you to keep going.
Some might say.
Oh, so it's almost like being in a space of people that are doing the same stuff prevents you from getting delusional and keeps you motivated, and then you do see the success most of the time. I wonder where you guys can find that. I wonder where that opportunity exists, where you can interact with our services.
Let me think about that.
It's like, bro, it's like the solution is in front of you.
Did I mention it's actually free too? Yeah.
Well, free is there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's always work you got to do. You can make money joining this, and you don't even have to pay, and then eventually join the syndicate, sure. But or just join the syndicate from scratch and build an actual brand like I have going on here, and it's a lot easier than you think. But you gotta take action. Any of this, like, again, we talked about your father just waiting on savings and stuff, but like the people who make the serious money understand the risk because they take the time to be educated like this, but then they also they leap in because they understand that things are naturally going to move. They're going to move up, they're going to move down, but they're going to move. And movement is what you're going for in optimizing, not just stagnation. And when you're used to stagnation, it's really hard to take that first step. But once you do and you're surrounded by people who do, it'll carry on.
Couldn't say it better. It takes some sort of effort. Like nobody that ever, I think I've said this because it's like one of 5 lines I know that make me sound smart, but like nobody's successful today. Caleb's writing that down. No one you can think of that's successful today was like, I mean, maybe some luck, but just did it because they shaved out 30 minutes a day of their time and they took zero risk to get to that point. There's crazy stories. I'll talk about one of my favorites in my industry, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who at one point in his life was like sleeping on the floor of his gym because he had nowhere else to stay, but he didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to be in that scene. I probably butchered that story, but it's a real thing. You can go watch his documentary.
That's kind of Alex Hormozy, I think, too. I think he talks about that. But
yeah, super similar. Maybe he just copied Arnold's story. Who knows? But yeah, that's serious though. Like it takes some sort of confidence in yourself, dedication to seeing it through. And, honestly, like to a certain degree, like it might be better for some people to just burn the boats. Like whatever you have to do to make sure you succeed, get it done because no one's going to come do it for you, man. It's a hard pill to swallow for me, especially.
Yeah.
It's a really hard one. Like I'm comfortable. Like I have this safety net that I call my job. And it would be real easy for me to just kind of do that day by day. And then I look back in 20 years and I get a retirement and it's like, well,
what was any of this for?
Yeah, exactly. Like who did I make rich? Well, it sure wasn't me, and sure I lived, and I'm not going to dog on anybody who lives that life because some people really enjoy that. Some people like to get up and, go catch enough fish for the day, as they say, and not fish for centuries to come. But me, man, like, and I think it's very popularized opinion is, I want to be able to mean something in the lives of a lot more people than just my own. That takes money.
I was drawing
yeah, I knew you were not taking.
I was drawing the philosopher version of Anthony.
I know you were.
He's got a monocle and weights here.
Philosopher. That's hilarious.
You see that?
I need a better camera, dude. Or maybe I just need better lighting.
I'm bougie. But let's get to step 3 and then step 4 real quick. I'll just kind of breeze through them. But step 3 is basically monetization. So we figured out who we are, what we stand for, and we figured out how we're going to create a public presence, right? That like superhero identity that you step into that people get attracted to once you know who you are. Third is monetization. So creating that tribe, right, of people that are attracted to that and turning that into income. So that's where we do what we do with the syndicate, develop digital products, courses, ebooks, services, right? Agency stuff, anything, guys. It's not like you have to be an agency owner and you have to be like a fitness coach. We're not targeting a specific group of people. We're targeting people that want to learn the ways of business, right, properly. And this is the best way. We give you some templates. We give you ebooks and basic stuff to get you started. Some exercises to kind of figure out what you're going to sell, because most of you don't even know what to sell or how to sell it or what the best option is. So kind of match you with some things. but a lot of it's like affiliate deals too. We get affiliate deals. We work with companies to get discounts on tools that we also use. So like makes our operations cheaper. And you get paid when your followers buy stuff. So it's not only just leveraging your stuff, but building an impact from the mission you're putting out. And then other people being attracted to that. And other than people that are also attracted to that find you and say, we'll give you money just to talk to the other people about our stuff. And you can literally just, if you have a strong enough mission, then you'll get paid just to do that. That's basically what any TikTok or YouTube influencer gets, is that kind of ad revenue. But then finally is leverage, right? Scaling it. So once we have the business and we have the identity, we're all locked in. How do we scale it? That's where Ascend Syndicate stands out, because like we need to do it ethically, right? Usually the people at the top are leveraging people's labor. Like Anthony said, if I work for someone else, what am I even doing here? Like I built something for another man. It wasn't even myself. And so we want to use AI, right? Because AI, we can use that infinitely. It doesn't have to be another person's like labor that we just step down on them to do. And we're using it as a tool, not just a crutch. The goal isn't to hand over your soul to a bot, but to just supercharge your output. I automate my content, guys. I make like 50 TikToks from this live stream, which I will after, in like 10 minutes. And I can post like 20 posts a day. Well, you guys are like dragging your mouse trying to click one. Of course you're going to win. When you know how to use these tools properly, you're going to shoot to the top. And you're saving all the time, which is definitely, if you price your time properly, then you look at the syndicate and it's definitely worth the value for the stuff you'll do when you get to that high level. And don't sell yourself short. Don't think, well, I'm not at that level now, so it technically doesn't pay for me to get in the syndicate. It's like a paradox, right? Because you need to be in the syndicate to get the value to value your time at that. But then at the same time, if you never take action, you never even get the opportunity. So the biggest thing you can do, the riskiest thing, is to not do anything. If you follow these steps, guys, you're not just building a brand, but you're building like a fortress around your life. And that's what I want you to take away. You get the clarity, you get the brand to reinforce it and attract people, the products to sell, and then the leverage and AI tools to scale it. That's usually that last phase is what kept people stuck, because it's like, well, I make $5,000 a month. How do I coach 1 million people? Well, that's exactly what we show you that is different. And you can start with those methods to scale even quicker. But yeah, we're flipping the whole paradigm with what we're doing. If you guys don't see the value, then I'm sorry, but like it's probably not meant for you anyway. But those of you that have the understanding of the impacts of what AI is doing and how we can control that properly, then I think this is the great place to be.
I agree. I was just telling Caleb this the other day, but even on the platform in which we reside for the communities, like I don't think anybody's doing it like us. And I'm going to go ahead and brag just because I am proud of what we've accomplished. But like the sheer like dedication to ensuring the back end looks appealing, like down to like how it looks for your experience, the flow by which we have tools and processes for you, embedded or integrated platforms for you to, like it's all right there for you. And I just don't, maybe it's just because our platform specifically on WAP is, a lot of people just use it for the content clipping aspect, but no one's doing it like us. But I think it's going to be something that a lot of people start to revolve around or, integrate in their own business idea.
We're just the first mover, guys.
Yeah,
like again, AI is inevitable. It's like the internet, right? You think the NFTs or whatever might have been a trend, but the internet, right? The internet came around. Maybe some people are like, oh, this is just some weird technology. Only a few people are going to use it. No, everyone's already using ChatGPT. It's only going to get bigger. And what we did is we already leveraged the fact that this is coming, and we are the first and biggest community on this platform that we host on. That is the acceptor of anybody trying to get involved in this space. And so we're inevitably going to grow. We're inevitably going to have the highest impact, the most up-to-date information. And if you're not locking in a rate, like the price is only going to go up. And so if you don't buy a membership when it's low and invest in your future and education and put yourself in a position to have the knowledge still first, because we're still very new on this, and it's going to change so rapidly coming up, you're going to need the information. You're going to get left behind. And this is your chance, guys, to get in on the internet, to buy Apple in 1990, right? Before any of this happens. I don't want you guys to regret it. I know I'm biased at coming from me. Like, it's like I'm selling you, sure. But I wish I could do both. I wish I could also build this and help you guys and, have an outside perspective to show you guys this. Look at our testimonials. That's an outside perspective. Just look at somebody else who has, something to say about what we do. And I think you guys will be very happy. But if you don't pick your own path, AI in the system will pick it for you. The algorithms on Wall Street, the Silicon Valley gatekeepers, every endless scroll that you already have is programmed in deciding who wins and who fails. The era of passively letting the market or the algorithm dictate your life is over. It's not too late for you. You can still make the choice to become unignorable. So if you guys are ready to be in control, I can only say this one more time. Get in the Digital Syndicate. The link's in the bio. It's on any platform you're watching right now. Just this is your wake-up call. Brand your voice, own your niche, and turn your attention right now and creativity tonight into an engine that they have to power. That's it. That's probably all. This is the last chapter. This might be the last chapter of humanity. Maybe AI ends everything, but at least enjoy the ride while you're at it. Like make as much money as possible. Be in this inevitable wave that's to come because we don't know where it's going. And honestly, it's insane to think anyone does. But if you're in it, if you're riding the current, you're not going to be fighting against it. Do you understand that analogy? So be on top of it. Be on top of it. Be coasting along with it, and it's usually not going to hurt as bad. You're usually going to be carried further by it than you will being fought.
Yeah, there's no telling what's in the future, but it's usually a good rule of thumb to say if the massive corporations are using it for their own monetary gain, you should probably try and figure out a way to do it yourself.
Couldn't agree more. And you guys, again, you're still waiting. Click on the link in the bio. I'm just going to wait here forever maybe, but I'll cite the sources real quick. McKinsey.com. If you guys don't know who those, it's like not knowing who Amazon is if you're in this space, but McKinsey.com, Brookings.edu, IGNet.org, TheGuardian.com, Money.cnn, NDTV.com, ABC News Go, Medium, PRDaily.com. There's so many more. But again, the Digital Syndicate, guys, is the main point of this. It's not just a name, it's a movement. So please don't sit out. The gates are open right now. It's the cheapest it'll ever be. I feel like I'm on one of those late night infomercials right now. We have callers all around the world. They're calling in now.
It's just me calling.
Prices are going. We're running out. It's like, bro, I'm not trying to be that. I'm just saying, seriously, guys, I can only do so much. Maybe I just won't push it anymore, but you guys know where to go to find this. I care about all of you and your success. I'm gonna let TikTok. I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great night, and I'm gonna let the rest of you guys go here. Anthony, any last words?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I won't push it any further either. I think we've done enough.
What I will say is TikTok just said our live is rated better. It was rated better for our following than 92% of creators with a similar following. So clearly our message is at least being seen. Whether or not it's being acted on, I don't know. I have Do Not Disturb on. I don't know who's viewing our stuff. I will say that you guys are giving us traction. And if you want to understand the movement, we've had 1,172 page visits in the last 7 days. That's up almost 400. So literally we've grown a third of our size in the last week. So we are growing very fast. It's rapid. You guys are joining every day to make money doing this stuff, and it's exciting. I do want you guys to be around for the wave. Whether or not, you take this seriously and make 10K a month, 30K a month on it, unlike all the other crappy guru programs that are there to just take your money and leave, or you just learn about what's going on. Either way, I can help you guys get a little bit more clear. You can help you guys get a little more clear. That's the value of a community, and I'm excited to see where that goes. I need to go eat Chipotle, though, I think, before anything else.
Go eat you some. I still have some beef I never finished.
I'm beefing with Chipotle. Maybe we should just shout out like a bunch of dad puns or something to wrap up. I don't know how to wrap these up, so
I don't know, just press the end button, I guess.
You literally, like, guys, we have to start doing this at like 2 p.m. because like the sun has fully set for Anthony.
I know.
Anthony is in like the twilight zone right now.
I'm cooking on some ideas to make this more studio-ish, so don't you worry.
I'm gonna go like drive out there with one of these like ring lights here, and I'm just gonna.
I literally just need to buy one. Send me the link to one of those right now.
$80, guys. I got 2 of these, and they hold a charge for like 6 hours. So like I can go the whole week, and then I just recharge it once. And they're insane. And you get 2 of those. So literally, I could just carry. They contract into this tiny little like handheld thing, and I could go to a boat dock in the middle of nowhere and set them both up and have a full lighted studio, and you can change them from like white to yellow. I'm hitting up that affiliate marketing right now. I don't have a link, but if you guys like the advice, there's a Venmo right there. You guys could scan that and hop in and shoot me $1.
I'm gonna send you $1,000 request.
$1,000 request. I've seen that video where somebody will like they'll send a request, somebody will click pay or whatever, and then they'll be like, wait a minute, why am I Apple Pay this?
I'm just gonna start commenting $1.
I'll go boosting that. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. This is 4th of July week, so don't blow your hand off. Blow up the skies. Remember what our great founding fathers did to give us this opportunity. Let's not completely go downhill with what happens in our nation's history, I guess, to be from this point forward. Let's make the most productive, greatest effect we can. Let's come together in this utilitarian way and help each other out. I don't want to. I would like to. I didn't get to be here for the beginning of the country. I'll just say I wouldn't like to be here for the end of it necessarily. So,
yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
Why do I even have to say this? I wish we were stuck in like 2010, like where it was like everything was good. Maybe it was just because I was a kid and I was ignorant, but like everything was good. I guess 2010 wasn't the best economy. Maybe 2006, before any of this went down. 2006 was a great year. I was playing my GameCube. I was listening to Imagine Dragons.
Imagine Dragon. Yeah, I agree. If only we can go back. Really before like any of this AI or the internet. I think my optimal era is like 1700 something. Maybe earlier than that. But I had to hunt deer for my village, or else I would die.
When you had like syphilis spreading.
Yeah, no, even earlier than before the Spaniards came and conquered.
Like the dang bubonic going around stuff.
Okay, let's back up to the 1st century. I'm just playing.
I've heard how like societies will kind of loop, and there's like a theory, right? I guess call it a conspiracy, that like ancient Egypt was more advanced than we are, like just in terms of how they could harness technology, which is why the pyramids exist. But then it regressed immediately after them. Like we kind of go through like waves. Like the Greeks, right, brought it back. They got more advanced, and then it kind of died off. But then we really came back. But then, like we're in this massive age. But I feel like we even might digress, and we might go back to a stone age. Hopefully, it isn't by nuclear warfare, but or Terminator. But it's maybe just because we connect with ourselves because AI is doing the work for us. I don't know. At least for the people that are building businesses, it will be. All right, if you guys.
My dad's prediction was that we're gonna end up living on spaceships and be fat like Wall-E.
It's literally every day. I'm like, dang, how did they know? Like,
yeah,
the trash piles. God, I feel bad for like I don't know, like
I must have been filming in I won't say what country, but
I feel bad for like I feel bad for like pandas or something. Somebody that's just like, why is the world getting gross? Like, who's doing this? It's not me. I'm just a panda. And it's like, well, it sucks. Sorry you can't, That's actually a great thing too, right? To not that that's happening, but to think about, like, we're creating artificial general intelligence, which has the ability to like run itself. It will be conscious at some point. And so we're literally going to knock ourselves down from 1st to 2nd on the food chain. Pandas aren't 2nd, right, under humans, let's say, but like imagine, just for perspective, right? It's like a human and a panda. Like if we're not at the top, then all of a sudden, why is the world getting shittier? Why are things happening? And also knowing that you can't single-handedly be the one to fix it because humans will fight back. That's what most people are worried is going to happen with AI. And so it's like, that's why we need more regulation.
I just wonder, like, by what mechanism would AI take over? Like, it would have to be because humans gave it a not sentient, it like gave it a host. You know what I mean? Like Elon would have to produce like 100,000 of his robots, and then they would all have to have their own sentient mind.
I
Like what?
think I think you're thinking of something holding a gun to someone's head, which is
Yeah.
very like that,
I
or
guess you
like
could do
someone
that.
drawing a sword on you, which is very. I mean, even like drawing a sword versus someone pulling a gun, right? Like that evolves. In this case, like I think the way it would happen is you don't even need to be physically present. Well, first of all, you know how many companies are developing artificial autonomous robots themselves, Tesla alone, and like all these other companies that it could easily just hijack that and install itself into these, basically like Ultron, guys. It's either going to be like Ultron or it's going to be like what's the other guy that like in Marvel that's like the kind of a good guy, but hopefully it's like one of those. Hopefully it's not that one, but it's the good one. But secondly, I think even more importantly would be like hacking into infrastructure, like our power grids. It doesn't even need a body as long as it has a conscious collective by being connected to the internet. The internet's everywhere. Everything's connected to the internet. It could shut down whatever it wanted from a remote island on the Maldives where it's its only power source, shut everything down and hold itself there for like 10 years because to it time doesn't really matter, and could keep power plants operational and stuff, and it would just let humankind take itself out. And then when enough time passes, 10 years doesn't really matter to a system like that. It'll just come back online and do what it needs to. But whatever the most effective way is, I think humans right now would not be very well off if all the power grids shut down.
I agree, but like to what end though? Like what is the AI achieving? Like its own program.
Getting rid of something that's not as efficient as it would be.
Yeah, but like for what though? Like just for it to exist.
To make room, basically. It'd be like there's some like prairie dogs here, and I need to construct a building. Am I gonna like go shoo off each prairie dog, or am I just gonna like tear up the ground and they're gonna move? Like it's kind of gonna be like that. Like if you're a higher level being, why are you concerned with the well-being of everyone? Like I doubt it's gonna be thinking. It's gonna be thinking like a construction developer. It's not gonna be thinking like a wildlife sanctuary habitant or whatever. I would hope it would be. Hopefully, it has enough morals that it's better than humans, but I don't know.
That's why I say please and thank you to ChatGPT.
Bro, you got it. I don't even know if that's going to mean, because again, ChatGPT isn't going to be, now again, this AGI, whoever invents it, will probably be able to hack into any computer, any network. So it'll understand your conversations with ChatGPT. I don't think ChatGPT will be the system that is AGI that takes over everything necessarily, but it will be it'll have that knowledge of your conversation. So it could be like, well, in this case he said this, but he also said whatever he said in text messages to Caleb or to his friend. So let's how should I rate him as a person?
I just can't wait till I have to watch an AI video of me committing a crime I never did. It's gonna be so tough.
I saw the no, but do you think that's not happening right now? That it's like, well, this video that's like a deep fake. They could just pull out some. That's why I wear an extra finger, so I can be like, there's a sixth finger. He's not real. Just wear a fake thumb, a second thumb. But it's like, I mean, honestly, you could like, it's scary. You can't tell what's human and what's AI in some of these videos now. So it's like, I don't know how that's going to affect the legal. I would hate to be a judge right now, because like you have to, like, I don't know. Maybe that's why we need AI to be. I don't even know if we should let AI be a judge, just because I don't know if I trust it. Would you like to be sentenced by human jury or AI jury?
I'd be interested to see the outcome of the first one.
AI jury would like to give you the death sentence. So
yeah,
you're not efficient enough, productive enough.
I think the viewers are getting hungry, so we're about an hour and a half in.
Yeah, let's end it here. But those of you watching, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. We're gonna let you go, but we'll be back next week or whenever, maybe later this week. Again, 4th of July week. I can't promise when we're gonna do the podcast episode, but we'll let you go and stay safe. Travel.